Welcome, you guys, to our monthly performance series. This is our free training that we offer every month. Um, this month, or last month, this month, and next month, we're running a three-part, although each part runs independently on AI, and we're trying to break it down into bite-sized pieces because just AI in general is too broad of a topic. And so we're breaking it down so that you get little bites that you can apply in your business immediately. And Darren is going to lead us today. I'll continue to let people in. If you are in a place where you can turn your camera on, that would be so much appreciated and helpful. It really does help Darren be able to connect. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat and or just raise your hand and jump in. We can address questions as we go. Today's session is being recorded. We will share it out with you afterwards, and I will be dropping in the chat a handout that you can follow along and copy prompts. Um, and with that, Darren, take it away.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Shelby, and thank you for being here in this conversation around AI. It's interesting because every day it's changing as far as what's maybe being rolled out as an update to an existing platform or what's new that's coming out. So it can get overwhelming. And really, what I thought we'd do is we take kind of the most mainstream and what I found most useful AI tools. And by the way, all of what I'll talk about today will be you can use them at no cost to you if you want to have a little more capacity with them. There's a subscription fee. I think it's $20 for the platforms we're going to talk about today per month. But you wouldn't have to do that. It's just a matter of how much you could utilize it. And I'd really get a concept of how we can start using that technology in our business, not only to use it like a Google search, and that's how many of us use it, right? It's replacing Google, but how to actually have it do something for us that will help us save time and help us get even. Ideally, it's to get better at being in front of our customers, our clients and customers, right? So it could be market research, it could be our promotional material, that type of thing, and that's what I've really discovered it being so helpful for, and that's how we're utilizing it in our business now. Just an example of AI, this picture over my shoulder, that was AI generated. So is that one over there. This is my little attempt at one of the platforms called Midjourney, which is a tool that I've been working with actually for almost 3 years. And when I generated some cool stuff, I had it put on canvas and I stretched it, and then now it's my backdrop, except it fell. So that's why they're offset back there. But and so that's where, that's one of the ways you can use it. But that really doesn't do much for us in real estate. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we can utilize really specifically three different technologies or platforms of AI and how that can really help us in our business. If you want to pop into the chat, if you haven't already, Shelby, the handout material. So I've got a handout material that has some areas that you could cut and paste so that you don't have to retype if you're going to do some prompting. But that's what we're going to talk about is prompts. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to switch over to sharing my screen. Oh yeah, here we go. So this is how prompts where prompts could take us. This little video I created last night was just done by words, right? So I just typed in some words, and here's what came out. No problem. It says diaper rash. Rash, rash. I got a tiny little problem. It says diaper rash. So that's one way that we can utilize AI. And by the way, that's Sora 2. And this is one to kind of pay attention to because Sora 2 gives you the ability using words to create video that is really studio quality. And so I've done some sizzle reels, if you will, for our market here. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, where I'll have it go out and put together, marketing reels about why I live in Madison. And I'll tell you, I would probably have to invest $10,000 to $15,000 for the output that it's giving me. First, in a matter of just a minute, and then also, and the accuracy of it is actually really good. And so that's one to keep an eye on because I think we're going to start seeing agents utilizing it at a high level. Now, right now, it's being used a lot like like that, the silly stuff. If you see online where you see the grandma scolding the grizzly bear for getting into her garbage and she's standing right there with him, that's Sora created. So that's probably the one video tool that's got us really worried about how do we tell reality from fiction, or from AI, and that's really where a lot of this is coming from. But today we're going to talk about really this idea of how to harness prompts to talk to the AI, whatever one we're using, to get the results we desire. And in all of this, it's all about the words we use. It's all about the words themselves that we're using to give us the results that we want. And that's really what it is. Now, what qualifies me to have this conversation with you? I'm probably one of the early adapters. I mentioned I've been working with Midjourney now for almost 3 years. I've been with ChatGPT as an example since I think it was month number 2 after it was released to the public. I was there and utilizing it in my business. That's the other piece of it as well. So I have Keller Williams Market Center here in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm the operating principal for it. I have a mega team also that they operate, and then I also train and speak globally. I was a bold coach for 12 years, so I was a road warrior for quite a while. But I'm really just I'm fascinated by this technology, when I say fascinated, I'm fascinated from what it could do for us from a time-saving perspective, such that we can be more effective at what it puts together for us, so I can be more effective in being face-to-face with my customers and clients. In fact, that's what I think this is. What this is going to do is allow us to free up time so that we can deepen our relationships with the people that we want to do business with. And if we're not going to do that, we're probably going to be missing the opportunity of the next 3 to 5 years, because that is what's going to happen. I think the consumer is going to want more interaction with us as AI becomes more prevalent, and so we've got to make ourselves available for that. So today, here's our mission, and we want to make sure you walk away with takeaways that you can implement right away in your business. And here are the 3 that we're going to do today. One is I'm going to show you how to put together a morning marketing brief where you can get an update on the market that you want to be following. And by the way, we're not going to go into depth in this just because of time, but we could actually automate this to the point where it shows up in your inbox at a time that you tell it to every morning. So it automatically goes out and does this for you and brings it back to your email inbox or to your text message system, so that you just click on the link and you can get that update. We're also going to show you how to do an email generator, and then also a social post creator. So, from a standpoint of AI in its infancy, it's really about languaging and what it can do languaging wise. I mean, when we start doing video and pictures, that stuff, that's a little different level. But this is really about the words that it can help us generate to be effective in what we'd like to do in our business. And that's what this is all about. Now, the key to this, though, is that you've got to get great at how to put the prompts together, right? So what you ask it to do, and it's a little different than how we normally speak for most of us. I mean, most of us don't give such detailed directions to anybody as I'm going to show you we'll probably need to do with AI. But once you start understanding that, it starts to become really manageable. And the fun with this is no matter what you're doing, you can't destroy it. I always have to chuckle because I think there's some of us in the meeting today that probably remember that time back when there was a DOS prompt that we worked from on a computer, and whoever it was that was overseeing what we were doing had us so terrified that if we typed in one wrong command, we could destroy the whole software. You don't remember that? And you can't do that with this. So I just want to tell you that the best way to get really skillful at utilizing AI is just get into it and experiment and type things in and see what it comes back with. And you're going to start getting more familiar then with how you do the prompt requests as well. So that's really what we're going to do in the next 40 minutes or so. If that's okay with everybody, we'll keep moving on it. So, and here's the mission then. So we're going to learn how to boss the platforms around. That's the whole idea, is that you have the control over it, and do it in the right way. And by the end of this session, you walk out with 3 battle-tested prompts. You use every single day to save hours and close more deals. That's my goal out of this today, is that. And that first one is that morning market brief. And you're gonna have to determine what works for you. But what would it be like if every morning at 7:30 in your text messaging system, you've got a hyperlink that you click on, and it gives you all of the market information for the market you're tracking as of that moment before 7:30. So it's real time market data. Would that save you time versus having to go out and study that? Now, you may not study the market every day. So what you may choose to do is not do a morning market brief. You might choose to do a weekly market brief and just say, once a week, I'd like you to go do this for me and have this in my inbox or have this on a hyperlink in my text message by this time each week, and just have it do it. And once it's built, it's a set it and forget it. And then it's just a matter of having it work for you. So that's that first one. The next one was that email generator. I'm gonna teach you how to craft personalized client emails in seconds and not minutes. And then the social post one, that's my favorite because I can get it to lay out a whole year of social posts as a templated idea generated, so that I just have to, I don't just basically copy and paste, but even so, I could set it up in advance so that it just runs for me. So once I've got it developed, it's to set it and forget it. I'm going to show you a couple examples of how that could look. Now, this all goes back to the language that we use when we're talking to it. And so I've got an acronym here. So here we are, a company with acronyms. But if you use this acronym of RACE, RACE, as you start generating or writing prompts for whatever platform you're working on, that becomes, I think, the most powerful piece. And what I mean by that is it's not simply to say, give me a listing description. Because if you say that, you're going to get something pretty generic back. So if you follow this rule, though, there's 4 really key things that you're going to want to make sure you've got in your prompt. Again, whether it's ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or any of the other platforms that are out there, that these work universally. Number one is that you give the AI its role for what it's going to do for you. Its role. So you tell it who it is. So here's an example. You might start out a prompt by saying you're an experienced luxury real estate agent copywriter. So you're experienced at doing this, at writing copy, ad copy in real estate. And what that does is set such a different tone for how it's going to go, put the information together and bring it back to you, than maybe you saying you're a market analyst, because those are 2 very different things. So, and again, there's no right way to say this. It's just whatever seems to work is what we start with, but start with a role. Always give it a role. So here's the role you're going to play in this prompt. So that's ours. Now, A is the action. So what is it, the action you want it to do for you in that role? And this is where you want to be really crystal clear. So about what you want. So, if you simply said, write a listing description, that's really too vague. Because by the way, you can get a lot more detailed than that. So you can start having it bring back to you a format in the languaging that you really like. So for example, you might say this: write a 150-word listing description about ... And so I told it exactly how many words I want. I want it to be this description. And then you might say, but I want it in a friendly tone. And that would be, that might fall under action. It could also fall under expectations. So the next one is the context. So this is first 2 my role. So you're that experienced luxury real estate copywriter, right? So that's the role. That I want you, with 150 words, write a listing description. Then I'm going to give a context. So I'm going to say, of a house that's got this many bedrooms, this many baths, maybe this specific neighborhood, maybe it's lakefront. Maybe it's on a very posh neighborhood, or very maybe it's a gated neighborhood. All the context I can give it, the more context I can give it, the better in what it comes back to me with. So, for example, you might say, this is the property details. It could be the client preferences. It could be market specifics or even neighborhood features. But again, you tell it the context is that you want this to be created in. And then finally, you want to set the expectations. And that's just how you define the output. So again, the number of words, the tone, professional, warm, urgent. You might say, I want it bullet pointed, or I want it in paragraphs, and then the style that you want. Now, here's the cool thing about that. When I've got this framework for the prompt, so I've got the role, the action, the context, all the information I can provide to it, and then the expectations, and I put it in, and let's use ChatGPT as an example. I put that prompt into ChatGPT, and it comes back with an output for me, and I'm not crazy about it. Well, what can I do? I can just ask it to rerun it. I could maybe tweak my prompts a little bit, but you don't even have to do that. You might just say, rerun it, please, and focus on this more, or I'd like this different. And what I love about any of the GPTs that you work with is you can ask it to rerun stuff, to redo the work over and over and over again, and it never rolls its eyes at you and sighs. For those of you who have teenagers, you might know what I mean, right? It's like it just does it. And sometimes I even feel guilty because I ask it to do it over and over again. And so, and there's a mixed bag out there around this, whether being polite to it is helpful or not. I've heard that it uses up data to be nice to it, but then I've also heard that when you're polite, you get better outcomes. So I always say please and thank you. And I've actually named my GPT, my chat GPT as well. So yeah, it's just a matter of what feels good for you. But that's the prompt. So now that's the foundation of almost everything you would ever do in AI is to be able to generate a prompt that gets you great results. In fact, I think one of the things we're starting to see from a global perspective is that these AIs are starting to displace some people, right? They're better at certain tasks than humans are. And the first group that it really impacted, I think, first was the creatives. And so, I'm saying, but all this is though is a shift, because if I'm a creative person, if I'm in that type of field, I just have to get creative at how to write prompts, because there's a skill, that there's an art and a science to that as well. So if I'm great at prompt engineering, I can still do really well in this realm of AI. That's the way I always look at it. Just let's get great at writing prompts. So let's take a look at
Darren,
yes, go
Darren,
ahead.
hang on one second. Mark,
Yeah.
I saw your hand kind of go up there for a minute. Did you have a question?
More of a comment about being polite.
Oh yeah.
Uh, every time you talk to your AI, it's learning who you are, and eventually, it'll start sounding like you. So if you're polite, it will be polite.
That's a great point. In fact, I had that my golf buddy had asked me. He's a journalist, and he had something he'd written, and he asked me to take a look at it. And I popped it into ChatGPT, and I had it review it, and it made some corrections. And he said to me, he goes, "That really wasn't me." He goes, "What that came back with was not who I am, the journalist." And I said, "No, I know, because it knows me." So it really set it to the tone of who I am. And you're absolutely right, Mark. The more you utilize it and make corrections or changes to it, the more it gets to know who you are. So it just gets better and better and better. And it is noticeable in a very short time, I think, as far as how that goes. So a great point. Great point. So let's take a look at, again, we talked about prompts and the power of the prompt itself. Let me just go back here. So let's talk about good prompts and bad prompts. I think we've hit on that, right? So a bad prompt is this, right? A listing description. What's wrong? Well, there's no role, there's no context, there's no expectations. The AI has to guess at everything. Your market, your style, your property details, and you get generic garbage every time. Now, you would get something probably a little better if you've been using it a long time and giving it more details. It'll know how you want to sound. In fact, I've got it now set up in my Gmail that it's responding to emails on my behalf. Now, I just started that last week, and it was going to freak me out at first. And yet, here's the thing: it doesn't send the email, but it generates a response, and it sits in my outbox until I review it and either make changes or hit send. But man, is it saving me time. And what's beautiful about that is it's in the tone of how I would be, because I've been using it so long. So there's a great time saver right there. So here's a good prompt as an example. You're an experienced luxury real estate copywriter. Write a 150-word listing description for a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home in Middleton. That's my market, with updated kitchen, finished basement, and large backyard. Emphasize the neighborhood schools and its proximity to downtown Madison. Write it in an upscale but warm tone. So that's a good prompt. You see that we have all 4 components of our ACE. We've got the role, we've got the action, right? A 150-word listing description. We've got the context, which it describes the property, and then the emphasis that it's going to put on certain things. And then we also gave it my expectation, which is in an upscale but warm tone. And now here's the cool thing though. If we were to all copy this exact prompt and put it in ChatGPT, do you think we'll get the exact same outcomes as far as what it comes back to us with? No, not how Mark. Yeah, I see you shaking your head. Yeah, Mark's absolutely right because it'll come back with what you would what it knows about you based on this prompt, and so that could be a fun one to do. So if you, I'm going to ask you to do that right now. If you've got ChatGPT downloaded, if you've got it set up, why don't we go do that? We can copy and paste this prompt right into it and see what we get back. Now, if you haven't worked with ChatGPT before, there's a free version. The one thing I will tell you is you want to make sure that you download or get connected to the right ChatGPT because there's a lot of almost the same out there that look so convincingly just like ChatGPT that you would. I mean, I've signed up for the wrong one by mistake. So I'm going to show you what to look for. So if I'm in ChatGPT, let's see, what is it's AI.chatgpt.com or chatgpt.com, but that's going to take you. The screen should look like this when you get to it. I think you guys can see my screen. Now I've got an upgraded version. So I've got a few more bells and whistles with it, but the free version gives you really what you need for our purposes. And for a lot of us, as we start out in this journey, actually, you're going to get a sidebar over here where you can start doing some organization if you choose to of what it's doing for you. But really what we're concerned with is right here in the middle. So it says, what can I help you with? Now, just a quick thing before we go type a prompt in. If you haven't done this before, if you haven't gone down, once you get set up, go down to where your little icon is, where you are, and click on that. You want to go to personalization. That's what a little bit of what Mark was talking about. You can give it some basics about how you want it to be for you, and then it'll start learning you as you use it. And you can even have some fun with it. Like mine is a nerdy. His answers are nerdy, right? Now there's options. I could have them be very professional, precise. I could have them be very friendly. The default is balanced style and tone. They could be candid, they could be quirky, they could be efficient, or they could be cynical. Cynical is kind of fun on those days that you're not feeling like your best, because I love to have the cynical one yelling at me. But you can just choose those, right? And you can switch them around. Here's how.
Quick question, Darren.
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? I'm not seeing your screen.
Oh, is anyone else not seeing my screen? It just says, "What can I help you with?" right in the center.
Phyllis, you're seeing it?
I can
Are
see
you
it.
on a mobile device?
No, I'm on my freaking laptop.
I can see it.
I've got to shut the rust filter off so you can see it. No,
Well, maybe you forgot to turn it on this time. Yeah.
I don't
All
know.
right. Well, I'll keep poking around on my end, but I have no
you
idea what's going on. Yeah.
Russ, can you see his main screen or was it just the pop-up that you couldn't see?
All I have is the standard grid of everybody in
I
Zoom.
see. Yeah.
I got nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
So there's a total of like 3 screens. One is the grid, the second one is the second part of the grid, and the third one is the actual screen.
That's awesome that you seeing that. I have none of that day. I'll figure it out. Thank you, Darren. You keep going. You guys don't wait for me.
Tell you what, Russ, I think if you go to the top right corner of your screen, there's a couple
The
little.
view.
There's a grid pattern. There's a show thumbnail video, and there's a show active speaker video. Those two, one of those two, you might want to click on because that'll probably get you to what you need to see.
I got speaker, which
Yep.
shows you in the gallery. I got gallery
Oh,
and multi-speaker, which doesn't help me either. Yeah,
Okay.
it's very interesting.
yeah.
All right, keep on
All right,
going,
never
Darren.
mind.
You're blocking me. I like it.
No, I'm not. I wish I knew how to do that though. Sometimes, not you, but for some. Okay, so the one thing you want to do is go spend some time down here and personalize it if you've not done that before, because then every interaction you have, it's getting better and it knows you more. That's the power of this. And I've got some other options here only because I'm on the like the upgraded version. I spend a lot of time here and I do a lot with it, so I invest quite a bit in it. So you may have just fewer options. That's all, but the basic ones are there though for you, and so you just want to spend a little time in that. And then if I get out of there, I want to just go back to the middle of my screen. What can I help you with? Well, I copied that prompt that we put together on that other screen. And so I was just going to pop that in here. So I'm going to paste it. So there it is. And a couple other quick things. So So then once it's pasted in, I could hit this arrow and it'll go to work to come back with that output for me. Before I do that though, this was new when they upgraded to ChatGPT 5.0, which up here it says 5.1 instance. So I've got, again, some of the options that I'm doing, but 5 is the one that most of you have. So don't worry about that. But down here, this little plus button, if you haven't hit that yet, there's a lot there to look at. Number one is if I wanted to, let's say it was going to do a listing description for me and I wanted to give it the MLS data sheet to work from, I could connect it to that by clicking on there and add that file. I could have a PDF of my data sheet. I could just have that there for it as a resource. If I'm doing something where I'm going to have it review a lengthy document, which I do as well, I put the whole PDF there and it can go through and it scans that doc for me and it comes back with the answers I need. I can also tell it what type of research I want it to do. This is the one though that's so cool, and we're not going to get deep into this one today because it's kind of an introduction, but agent mode is where I can give it a prompt that has it go do work for me. Yeah, I could have it do multiple things. So it opens up a different window and it starts doing the type of stuff I would probably have to do. The last thing I had to do is I turned 60 in December right before Christmas, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to go do on my 60th, because my 50th I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and I said not that this time because that about killed me. But so I'm thinking, oh, let's go to New York. And so I went to agent mode and I said, you are a top travel agent who's really gifted at finding the deals. So again, you see how I gave it the role? And I said, and what I'd like you to do is put together a 3-day itinerary for a 3-day trip to New York City. The dates are somewhat flexible, but I'd like it to be around this time. And I want to see at least 2 Broadway shows. I want to have dinner at Petrosian. And I just told it some of the stuff I wanted it to do. And it came back with a whole itinerary put together for me, including hotel options that were really reasonable in Midtown Manhattan. And I just like, that would have taken me probably 2 hours to go do that on my own. That's where this agent mode can become really helpful, because you can have it go do that stuff for you. And you can have multiple agent modes going at one time, which is the other kind of cool thing if you like to have a lot of stuff flying around. We're not going to make that complicated today. We're just going to try to get that listing description. So I just want to make sure you knew what that plus did. So I'm going to hit the up arrow. And, oh, that was so quick. Look at this. Here's my description. All right, so this is 150 words. And now one of the things, this is actually, I'll back up in a moment. So it's here, this Middleton home blends comfort with quiet luxury. The updated kitchen sets the tone with refined finishes and generous workspace that makes daily cooking feel effortless. I mean, the way I language is stuff, I would never be able to language, right? I'm just not that good. Now, it might be too pristine for me, so I could say this. I could go back and say, please redo, and let's make it make it geared towards an analytical. Let's just see what it does with that. It also doesn't mind spelling errors as long as it can tell what you're trying to type, which I love because it doesn't always work well for me either that way. All right, here's geared towards analytical. So just now, a couple of changes. It's subtle, but they're powerful. Like here, the lot is key value point. That's an analytical. That's a phrase for an analytical, isn't it? A value point. What it said up here before was not that. This was probably more for someone who was a tactile or like a felt town person. Step outside of this large private backyard. For analytical, you know, the lot is a key value point. There's a difference. And so it's really about who you're gearing your message towards, that it can do that for you. Now I could have it do that. I could have it rerun the exact same one. And here is the way I do that. I just hit the recycle thing right here. See the little icon? Say try again and see what it comes back with. And it says, here's a cleaner, more analytical version that still reads upscale and professional. Now, once I have that, that's 150 words. So that would work for some of the stuff I would need it for, right? Some of the online marketing. But I could say, can you narrow it? I'd say this is great. So I want it. Now, the one thing I can do too, if I like this personality, I can hit the thumbs up and give it feedback. I could do the same thing here if I like the way it did that. Because again, that feedback is helpful because it then starts to remember that. And then I could say, I'd say this is great. Can you create a 75 word description of what platform uses 75 words? I think it's Instagram, isn't it? I know that. But what I'm doing here is what I could do with this first one is I could have it create all of the posting, the descriptions I need for any of the online sources that I would use. So that I have that done. And I could say, how about 20 words or less? That's probably be X or Twitter, right? And then here we go. There's my post. So now in a matter of just a minute or two, I've got, I could cut and paste these three for whatever platform it's going to, and it's done. Now, one little side note, when I get a prompt that works well for me, so, because this one, is an example of me, this got me what I wanted. I create a library of those so that they're easy to go back and grab if I need something like that again. And so I just go into Google Drive and I created a Google Drive file for it. And I'll just show you, I've got an example here for this course that I did. I just call it a prompt library. And so, and what I just did is now I'm a little nerdy with Google Sheets. So I have a drop-down menu for the platform used versus having to type it in. But here's Perplexity, here's ChatGPT. So I remember which platform I used that prompt on. Here's the prompt, and here's the outcome. I just paste the outcome in, and so I've got those. Because when you find that you've got really well-described prompts, they tend to be a little wordy. And so, and to tweak it for what you need next is not that simple, is not that easy, or not that difficult when you've got all the words, except a few things you want to change. So that's really what this is. And that's all this is. And all it is a prompt library in a Google Drive. And the beauty of that is anywhere I have access to being online, I've got access to that prompt library. So, so that's just a little side note about utilizing something like that, so you don't have to redo your work. All right, so let's take a look at these different platforms. So the platforms are personalities. Now they're different, and so here's what I want to do: start thinking about it from a distinction standpoint. Because I used to be 100% just ChatGPT, and it's good for a lot of things. By the way, it's still good. It's still good for almost anything I could ask it to do. But there's some things that are even better for certain activities. So that's why I want to just make you aware of this. They're not all created equal, and I think we're going to start seeing more and more distinction between these large language model platforms as more developed, because they're going to have to become more niche related to get people to really find them a value at the level that they need. So it's not a one size fits all. So ChatGPT. Here's how I think about it. It's a creative brainstormer. It's conversational. By the way, you can, on the mobile version, you can speak to it. You can have conversations. I do that all the time in my car with ChatGPT at mobile, and I'll ask it to do research for me. I'll kick ideas around. Sometimes you just have a debate. And the beauty of that is it creates a transcript of everything we do. So I always have that to go back to and find. And one thing I've discovered that I really love it for, practicing scripts. It'll role play with you. So, so you don't have to have a role play partner if you can't find someone who's reliable. You just have to have ChatGPT. So it's also great at creating scripts, and it's great at creating scripts where you give it in your prompt for that. Use the techniques from NLP, neuro linguistic programming. I always put that in there so that it's always doing embedded commands. It's using language that's more powerful in the scripts that it creates for us. But that's really what it's about. So creative and lightning fast. It's perfect for social posts, email drafts, listing descriptions, and anytime you need a quick engaging content, because that quick version is so fast. So that's probably, now it's like 60% of my use now is just ChatGPT. About 30% is Claude. And Claude I didn't know about until, maybe 2 months ago. But Claude's my analytical strategist. And it's detailed, precise, and methodical. It's everything I am not, which is why it works so well for me. So it's a place to go to for market analyses, CMAs, contract review, and complex problem solving that requires structure. I've had it review contracts, employment contracts, real estate contracts, and it's amazing what it comes back with to make me aware of. And so that's one of the things I love Claude for. Anything. I had a question, because I'm the broker for our company. I had a question from one of our agents that was a real obscure condo law question, And I knew there was an answer somewhere in the statute, but the statute was like 65 pages. And for me to find that, it would have taken me forever. So what I did is I grabbed the statute as a PDF. I gave it to Claude. I said, here's the question. Can you find the answer? And it was like almost instantaneous. I don't know how I mean, the way it absorbs the stuff is unbelievable. So it got me the correct answer like so fast. So that's really where I like Claude. Now, the other thing Claude can do though, and ChatGPT can to some extent, Claude could start writing code to create apps for you. And it's simple. So if you have something where you go, I wish I could have an app that would do this for me, I would go to Claude. And the first day I got logged into Claude, I was sitting at a restaurant having lunch, and I wrote an app to set up scheduling the appointments for showings when I'm out showing buyer property. And it created an app for me and it had a couple, it asked what the input points are. Mine was, the distances between travel routes, all of that. And it was a matter of like 10 minutes. That's incredible power. And so if there's something missing in your world that you wish you had an app for, Claude's a great one for it. And you don't have to be a coder, at all. It does it for you. It just asks you questions. You just have to answer them. And then the last one is Perplexity. Now, Perplexity, now, by the way, ChatGPT and Claude have a free version for anybody. So there's no cost for their basic version. I think it's $20 a month for both of them for that upgrade. Then that just gives you more opportunities to interact with it, more questions, that type of stuff. The last one is Perplexity. And Perplexity is the research machine. That's the one that goes deep dives on research for you. And it's it's real-time web data automatic citation. So it's in real time. Now, ChatGPT is almost real time now too. The reason I mention that is that in its early days, it knew everything there was to know up until was it June of 2019 or something, I think. So it was like 4 years behind the times. It was like having a set of encyclopedias on the shelf that were only good up until the day that they were published. Now that's changed for chat, but in the early days, that's all it was. And it was still pretty amazing that it had all that, but now it's real time. Perplexity was built to be real time, and it's really great for market research, sales comps, neighborhood stats, and anytime you need sourced facts. Because the other thing Perplexity does is, and anything it comes back to you with that it's done research, it does footnotes and they're hyperlinks. So you'll always know where it got the data that it's giving you. And you can go back and look at it. So that's a cool thing with Perplexity. Now, the other thing with Perplexity, if you're a Venmo or a PayPal user, you've got an account with either one of those, the first year of the upgrade in Perplexity is at no cost. So it'll save you a little bit of money or the upgrade there. And I found it within PayPal or Venmo's kind of back office, right? So if you go to the sidebar and you just kind of go through some of the options there, it was there. You may be able to search by typing in, Perplexity free use or something. But I'd already paid for it, so I couldn't get a refund, but I know it's there for you. So those are the three I want to look at for the balance of this today. Just those three themselves. And again, now Perplexity I probably use about 10 to 15% of the time. It's not all the time. Claude and ChatGPT are my two go-tos. They're bookmarked in my browser because I'm there all the time. So let's take a look at how we might use these prompts. So here's the first one. This is going to be our first takeaway. This is that morning marketing brief, right? So now I'm going to have Perplexity do this for me because it is real time. And Perplexity then, again, because it's real time data and it'll give me the sources it got that from. So here's an example of a prompt. So I might say to this to it, what homes sold, and I put in the market that I want to stay on top of in the last 30 days. Focus on a certain price range or a house type. I mean, it's not set in stone what you want to focus on, but you want to give it some specifics and include sale price, days on market, and any notable trends. Keep this report under 200 words each day. So to customize that then for you, what's the market you want to be get the data on? It could be neighborhoods, it could be cities or towns, whatever, the price range or specific neighborhoods themselves. And why this works, as you said, you start every day knowing exactly what's moving in your market. It takes 30 seconds to run and sound like you're an expert. You can do this every morning if you're disciplined, but what I did is once I got this prompt giving me the results I wanted, I took it over to ChatGPT and I had ChatGPT prompt Perplexity every morning to run this, and at 7:30, then it sends me the email with it. And I don't have weekdays. I don't have. I've done it. I've set it up once, and it keeps going. That's where we start. I think our limitation is only what we could think about having it do for us. And I didn't know how to do that. I just went to ChatGPT and said, "Hey, I've got Perplexity doing this for me. Is there a way that you could automate it so that I don't have to ask for it, and you just give it to me?" And that's what it does. Now, this is for you, Mark. I cannot get it to do phishing reports for me. I don't know why. So I know, I didn't ask Perplexity to do it. So maybe Perplexity could do it. Chat couldn't, but yeah. So let's practice this one. So what you might want to do is just copy that prompt, and when you put it, we're going to go to Perplexity. So if you haven't downloaded that, we go over here. It looks very much the same like the others, right? You've got your window right in the center. You've got the stuff along the side, and I'm gonna paste in that prompt. Now I had to. Oops, I didn't get that one. I didn't get that prompt copied correctly. So let's go back. Actually, I'm going to go to my prompt library because I've got it built there for us. Yeah, so here it is. So here's the prompt with my customization put into it. What homes sold in Dane County, Wisconsin? That's my primary market. So I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna put it over into Claude, and I'm gonna paste it in there. I'll take a look at it quick to make sure it works. Yeah, focus on 500,000 and up, including sale price, days in market, any notable trends. Keep it under 200 words. That's the prompt. And now again here, much like in chat, you've got this little plus. So you could add attach a file to it if it was going to be helpful. There's all kinds of things I can attach to it. There's some filtering I can do, so I could have it do certain style for me. Search tools. Let's see, what is that one? I think that's telling me how many I want to do deep research. I'm not going to do anything with that. So I'm just going to hit the up button, right? There we go. And so here we go. Let's see, let's time this. Oh, I couldn't even hardly count, right? So no, that just told me what it's doing. Okay, now it's doing a deep research. Now this tends to be a little bit slower, right? You can see what it's doing, or you can shut that off. I like to know that it's working. And so that's what it's doing now. It's interesting. It came back to here. So Dane County luxury home sales last 30 days is the name of it's created a project for me for this. And let me just see what it's doing, because I should have given me an output. It didn't. So and I had to do this morning for me too, so maybe going, okay, well, you asked me twice in a day, but like I said, it doesn't roll its eyes like a teenager, so it's good that way. All right, you see it now, it's telling you where it's going to get the data from too, and those footnotes will be in the output that it sends us as well, so which is great, because then you could always go back and research what it is that it's saying. All right, so here we go. Now it's giving me the output. Now, something like this in its own right is really good, because I could do something with social media right there, couldn't I? I could do an update on socials, Facebook, that kind of stuff. Say, hey, here's just a quick update on blah, blah, blah. If you want to know more, reach out to me. But then so I always want to read it. That's one thing I forgot to mention earlier. No matter what any of these AIs put out, you always want to review it before you put it out to the public, because it does make mistakes. Because sometimes it's crazy stuff you'll catch. It's getting better in many cases, but don't trust it until you've read it. So I'd want to read through it, but then I go, okay, that's kind of cool. What else could I do with this? Well, I could put it out on Facebook, couldn't I? I could maybe do that on my Facebook page. But what if I had them do an infographic? So I'm going to say, create an infographic for me for this data. A lot of people kind of like those, right? It's a little easier to digest and bullet points with numbers behind them. So let's just see what it does with that. Now that's a programming that you're seeing it write code. That's what this is. Again, I can't imagine being a coder, because I know enough about it to know I don't ever want to be the guy that has to do that, because you have to close both ends with what you started with. So now it's creating that infographic, and I mean, there's a lot of lines of code that it's creating. So it'll be interesting to see what it comes out with. And we're there, I think it's at the end of its string. And there we go. So it's going to pop it over on the side. So here's what it came up with for me. So now I've got something I could probably publish and hand out. I've got something I could distribute. It's here too, the coded the HTML file. So if I want to download that because I want to save it and maybe send it to my printer or whatever, it's there. If I don't like the way it looks, I could say, you know, let's change the style of the info. Now I may have brand kit that I work with, right? I've got certain colors that we always use. I could have that set up in here too under my preferences, and it would do it in my brand kit color scheme as well. Let's just see what it does. I give it a bad prompt, change the style of the infographic. Let's see what it does. So again, we don't have to sit and watch it, but I just want to let you know that, you know, just the data to the point where we've got this is great, but what else could we do with it? And that's what that is. And this is just asking it to do that for us. It's not any more than simply that. And you can see what it's doing now. It's just, it's redoing the graphic. I don't know what it's going to come back with. Now, I might come back and say, I wanted to do this, use this color scheme. Please do it this way, or please use, for the data, please use bar graphs, you know, that kind of thing, or pie charts. So I can do anything that way. And that's Perplexity. There we go. So there's another version of it. So now again, because I like that prompt, so I put it in my prompt library, right? So I've got that here, and what I did with that is I'll show you. Here's what it came up with earlier today for me as an infographic. It was this little chart, and that's kind of cool. I liked it because again, I could look what it did: median sale price, but then I also talked about the top 5 neighborhoods, which I think could be helpful, especially for out of town people. Seller leaning market. We're one of the few in the country that's still leaning towards the seller side. Our days on market have gone to 18. 18 days on market from 11. So my agents have to babysit for 3 weeks now versus a week and a half with sellers. But you know, that's what it's showing us. And then what I could do maybe would spur another thought and say, okay, why don't we break down these neighborhoods and just do something about these, because these are the neighborhoods we work in, and let's do something there, because then we can do something neighborhood specific. Again, our only limitation is what we can think to ask it to do. So let's jump back into, so that's the first one. That's the first thing, that morning market brief. I just want to make sure that's a takeaway. Now, again, you can do all kinds of stuff with that. If you choose to, your limitation is what you can take to have it do. Now let's talk about the email, follow-up email generator. How many of you, and you can just show your hands or do thumbs up or whatever, use any of these to do a review of your emails before you send them? So I've had ChatGPT doing this for a long time. I'll type out an email, and then I'll copy it and paste it into ChatGPT, and I've shortened it. I said I have 2 letters. I do proof and clarity, P and C. I go PC, and then I do a colon, and I paste in the whatever the text is, and then it'll come back with its suggestions. And more times than not, they're way better than mine, because it organizes things in a way that makes more sense. I do that on almost 100% of the emails that go out for me. So that's the first way I've been using it. But now what about using it to do follow-up email? And so that's what this would be. So here's the example prompt. You're a professional real estate agent. Write a friendly follow-up email to a client who toured certain property yesterday. Mention a feature that they maybe said they liked, and ask if they have questions and suggest the next steps. Keep it under 180 words, and let's keep it conversational. So again, this is templated, right?
I have a total of 20 leads from this month.
20 leads from something like that? That's awesome. Is that what I heard? So yeah. So again, this is just the prompt is just the framework, right? So professional. So let's take a look at this one. Now this one I put into Claude, by the way. So we can do that in ChatGPT or Claude. You could actually do it in Perplexity too. It just would probably give you something a little bit different. Let's see, where is it? All right, here. Okay, so here I did it in Claude. That again, that's why I think it's important to kind of put what platform you did this in. So here I did that prompt. I said they toured 1285 Celebration Boulevard in Sun Prairie. Mentioned the main floor primary suite. So that was the thing they really liked, that the primary was on the main floor. Ask if they have questions, suggest steps, and keep it under 100 words. Conversational tone. So here it was. Thanks for touring. Main floor primary suite is a great feature, especially for long-term living. What did you think of the property overall? So again, this is just friendly. Now, one of the things I did though is I said, okay, I wanted a little more urgency, because we're in a pretty fast market. We're still multiple offers and a lot of stuff. And if you sleep on it, someone else is going to sleep in it, all that stuff that you've heard. So I'll say, can you come back with a little more urgency, but keep it friendly? And that gives you a different output. But that's, and again, that could be all kinds of different ways that you could utilize this prompt to follow up after showings, to follow up after a meeting. One little insight, and I don't have time to get into this, but I learned this when Shoni Ivins was in Dallas with us at Nexus and Go Network 2 months ago. He uses Otter.ai, and Otter on the mobile version listens to, like out on showings, it'll be recording. It picks up on things that people say, and it would come back to me with a list of the features that they talked about. And I'll tell you, it does work that way. So I've got a to-do list that it's been building for me from every meeting I've had since I turned that on. So it's a recap of whatever the meeting was. It gives you the takeaways from what it heard us agree to do, which is brilliant, I think. So just Otter.ai is that tool for that. But that's that second one, which is that way to follow up powerfully with clients using email. And I gave you a couple things here. ProMove responses. So again, play around with it. I might say make it warmer, add urgency, shorten it to 75 words, make it more professional. Whatever it is, just play around with that and see what you end up with. And here's the thing: you're never staring at a blank screen after showings, right? So if you're going to follow, maybe it's an open house. You do set this up for open house attendees, and you get this templated stuff going. It sounds personable because it is. You picked up on something that they said they liked or showed interest in, and you're sending it out. Last piece is this one: the social post generator. The social post generator. This is one that we could spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours on, because it's so vast what you could do. I'm going to give you one just quick thought, and this is going to be to do it in ChatGPT. Well, and the king of creative, engaging content, right? Because that's really what chat was built for. It was to be content creating, using words, all that. So here's a template: create an engaging social media post about a topic. Say, I'm a real estate agent serving whatever your market is. Write in at a professional but approachable tone. Include a call to action. Key piece, you want to have a MOFR, if you will, right? Make an offer for immediate action, a call to action. Keep it under 150 words and no hashtags yet. I don't want to muddle that. And again, make it yours, your market, your brand voice, your call to action, whatever you want that to be. Now, you might say, I don't know what to do for a call to action. So then I would go to ChatGPT and say, come up with 10 call to actions that would be powerful in today's market in this time of the year. And it'll come up with 10. And I could say, give me 5 more. They come up with 5 more. I mean, I have it do the work. I don't have to come up with this stuff. I just have to ask it to do things. And what you could do with that one is you could have it be creating content for neighborhoods, right? So you could do social posts for the neighborhoods that maybe you're geographically farming. A market update for the areas that you're doing business, and just listed announcements could be done this way. Client success stories, those are really cool ones. And by the way, the engagement on those is actually really good. So if you have a client success story that you could share, that's a good one. Home buying tips, local business feature. And by the way, it says here, after you get your first post for social media, ask it to create 3 more variations, because now I have enough for 4 posts. So that's really kind of the key to this. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we're going to copy this again. Going to copy that prompt. I'm going to go over to ChatGPT. I'm going to go to a new chat. And I'm going to paste this in. And so let's see. What topic should we have? I don't know. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask it to create topics for me. Let's do 10 topics that are timely for today's market. for real estate. I don't have to say it because it knows me well enough, but that I can use in social media. Keep in mind, I'd like a call to action with each, right? So I want it to be a call to action. Here's how I don't have to go back and correct my spelling because I think it's enough letters that it knows what I'm asking for. That's what I love. I don't have to fix my bad typing. Oh, how fast was that? And there we go. There's going to be 10. Now here's what I do. What I'll do is I'll say, this is great. Drop these into a table so I can schedule them for releasing. What it does with this. Great. So what else might you want to do with this? Depending on where I was going to be posting it, this might be enough. But I might say I'm going to do something that could be a little longer in the wording. So I might ask for the long description in the table. And then all I'm doing is cutting and pasting. I might ask for a blank column to schedule. So let's do it every Tuesday. Let's have one of these get released. And all of a sudden now I've got this automated. Now I could actually do graphics in here too. They're not the greatest, but I could ask it to create some visuals for this as well. Let's see, let's just do I would say visual for each topic. Let's see what it does. I've never done this. This is the risky part. When it starts generating visuals like this, they do take longer. I mean, they're big data hogs, so it'll take a while to get this to do. But it's doing it. I just want to see what the first one looks like, see if it's something that would work, because then I'm not having to jump across platforms and do stuff like that either. Here we go. It's like the big reveal. Come on. So this is a good example of the one thing that the downside of AI is that they're huge data hogs and they take a tremendous amount of large data centers to run and a lot of water to cool. And so if there's controversy around AI right now, it's that they're trying to put these giant data centers in around the country where they need them because this gets faster when we've got the ability to manage the data faster. And people in those areas are pushing back, and arguably so. I mean, it's possibly it's damaging water potentially, and it's huge energy hogs to do that. And this will give you an example of that just with the photo, or the picture that's doing.
Darren, let me just jump in here real quick. Fritz Pollard, Director of Coaching with Nexus, while we're waiting for that graphic to upload. If any of you have any questions, we've taken a 3-month series after Shoney presented at the Dallas Market Center, and we want to spoon feed you more of these topics so that you can internalize them. We like to create a workshop scenario. Please put your information into the chat. We'll grab it. Michelle Ozimi is also partnering on this AI topic that we are presenting. We will have one more in December, and then we'll kind of reset the table. But if you've got any questions about how to implement this, we want to be a resource for you, whether reaching out to Michelle, reaching out to Darren. Maybe Darren and Michelle, you could drop your information into the chat so they can reach out to you personally.
Yep.
Do not hesitate to lean on us as your resource. These are 2 coaches that are using this daily, and they are becoming experts. This is a highly fast-paced moving set of topics, and we want to be your resource. Call Darren or Michelle, reach out to them, ask them questions, and then if you want to choose to work with them, we've got that option available for you also. So I wanted to make that connection before we all log off.
Yep,
Darren?
and there's a graphic on the screen for you. See what it did? Just 2 different options. There's 12 different ones right there. They're there for you. I'll go back to the slide deck. Yeah, so there's, if you want to learn more about coaching, if you want to scan that QR code too, that would set up a business discovery call with us to see if it's something that we could be helpful to you with. We're right at 2 o'clock, so I think I have one more slide. Yeah, that's it. So here's what Fritz was talking about. Save the date, December 17th. It'll be the same time. We'll do that. You know, I don't think Michelle and I have determined what it's going to be specific because it changes so fast. So, but what we want to do is give you practical stuff that you can put into play right away and understand maybe AI a little bit more so that it's working for you versus having you be afraid of it, not doing anything with it. So with that, I would say thank you, everybody. And I appreciate your time today. And reach out if we could be of any help.
Thanks, everybody.
Fantastic.
Appreciate you.